Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping right into something pretty fundamental, even if we don't always think about it. The global market for textile auxiliaries.
Right. These are basically the chemicals that make our fabrics, well, work. Think color, softness, special finishes.
Exactly. And we're basing this chat on a really comprehensive analysis, the Global Textile Auxiliaries Market Report 2025.
That's the one. It's by Manoj Figuer, report ID CMR240438. And it's hefty, over 250 pages. It looks back from 2021, estimates 2025, and forecasts way out to 2033.
Wow. Okay, so plenty data.
Oh, yeah. And you can get it how you like: PDF, Excel, PowerPoint, even cloud access. Covers all the bases.
So the goal here for you, listener, is simple. We wade through all that detail so you don't have to. We pull out the key numbers, the big trends, what's driving things, basically give you the inside track.
Precisely. A shortcut to understanding this pretty complex market.
Okay, so it's clearly a big market. Where do we start? What's the headline figure?
Let's kick off with the overall size. For this year, 2025, the report estimates the global market at USD 900 and 284 million.
$9.28 billion. Okay, that's substantial. Is it growing?
It is, yeah. Definitely growing. The forecast suggests it'll hit USD 20 over 304.19 million by 2033.
Right, over 13 billion. What kind of growth rate is that?
That works out to a compound annual growth rate at CAGR of 4.60% between 2025 and 2033.
4.6%. Okay, steady growth.
Yep. And remember, the base for these calculations is 2024, looking forward to 2033, so a solid forecast period.
Got it. Now, global means different things in different places. How does this break down regionally? That's always fascinating.
Good question. Regionally, North America is actually the current leader. For 2025, they're looking at over 37% of the market share.
Over a third. Wow.
Yeah, it translates to about USD 2,599.52 million. Their growth is projected at 3.7% CAGR through 2033.
And within North America, is it mostly the U.S.?
Predominantly, yes.
Huh.
The U.S. market is estimated at USD 2051.02 million for 2025, growing at about 3.5% annually. Canada's smaller, around USD 311.94 million, but growing a bit faster at 4.5%.
Okay, so North America's leading the pack for now. What about Europe? A strong textile history there, too.
Europe's definitely significant. They hold the second spot, over 29% share. That's about USD 2,274.58 million estimated for 2025.
And the growth.
A little more moderate. The TGR forecast is around 3% for that 2025 to 2033 period. Germany leads within Europe, by the way.
Germany, okay, what's their number?
Around USD 450.37 million for 2025, with a 3.2% growth rate expected.
Interesting. So North America leaves, Europe's solid but growing slightly slower. Now, Asia-Pacific, often the growth engine.
You nailed it. APAC's current share is around 24%, so that's roughly USD 249.4 million in 2025. But, and this is key, the report sees them having the fastest growth.
How fast?
A TGR of 6.0% between 2025 and 2033. That's quite a bit higher than the others.
6%. Okay. Who's driving that in APAC? China? India?
Both are crucial. China's the biggest market there. USD 1,364.75 million in 2025, growing at 5.5%. But India's growth rate is projected even higher, 7.9% CAGR.
Almost 8% for India. That really stands out. This is a big part of the future story then.
Definitely looks that way.
What about the other regions? South America, Middle East, Africa? Are they significant factors?
They're smaller shares, but still growing. South America is just over 4%, about USD 352.79 million, but with a decent 5.6% CAGR. Brazil's the main player there.
Brazil's growth.
Expected at 6.2%. The Middle East is also around 4% share, USD 371.36 million, growing at 5.2%. Saudi Arabia leads there.
And Africa?
Africa is the smallest, currently around 2.2% share, maybe USD 436.35 million. Growth projected at 4.9% CGR, with South Africa being the largest market within the continent.
Okay, so summing up the regions, North America leads now, but Asia-Pacific is where the really rapid expansion is expected, especially thinking about India and China.
Fascinating. So what's actually pushing this growth? What are the drivers? Well, a really big one is the push for sustainability. Eco-friendly production is huge now.
Right, you hear about that everywhere. Consumers want it, regulations demand it.
Exactly, and auxiliaries are key to greener processes. The report actually mentions Solvay launching a fiber that breaks down faster in the sea. That kind of innovation is a big driver.
That's a great example. So sustainability is number one. What else?
Just the sheer growth in apparel and home textiles. More clothes, more furniture, more curtains. It all needs processing.
So simple volume?
Volume, yes, but also demand for better performance. People want fabrics that are softer, maybe flame retardant, anti-wrinkle, water repellent. All those properties came from auxiliaries.
Right, the value add stuff. Makes sense. More fashion production equals more need for these chemicals.
Absolutely. And then there are those environmental regulations we mentioned. They can be strict, pushing companies towards, lower impact options.
So the regulations act as both a challenge and a driver for certain types of auxiliaries.
In a way, yes. They drive innovation towards greener solutions. And finally, just ongoing tech advancements are opening up new applications, new functionalities.
Okay, so it's demand, sustainability pressures, regulation, and tech innovation all pushing it forward. But surely it's not all smooth sailing. What are the roadblocks, the restraints?
No, definitely challenges. A big one is the cost of raw materials. These specialty chemicals, surfactants, enzymes, they can be expensive, and that impacts the final price of the auxiliaries.
Volatile commodity prices, I guess.
That and just the inherent cost of some sophisticated chemicals. Plus, those same environmental regulations, while driving sustainable innovation, also mean higher costs for compliance, for waste disposal, things like that.
The cost of going green sometimes.
Right. And the report also flags fluctuating raw material costs in general and potential supply chain disruptions as ongoing risks. We've all seen how fragile supply chains can be lately.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so cost pressures and regulatory hurdles. Let's pivot to the big picture trends. What's shaping the future of this market?
Well, building on the drivers, the massive trend is sustainability. It's not just a buzzword, it's a fundamental shift. We're talking bio-based, biodegradable options becoming mainstream.
Beyond just less harmful to actually eco-positive.
That's the direction.
Yeah.
Think innovations like waterless dyeing, using enzymes more. It's all part of that. Then there's technology, especially integrating smart auxiliaries.
Smart auxiliaries, like what?
Think nanocoatings for antimicrobial properties or better moisture wicking. Stuff that gives fabrics enhanced features, stain resistance, durability, odor control, real functional upgrades.
Wow, okay. Fabrics that do more.
Exactly. And finally, the adoption of digital tech in textile processing itself is boosting demand for these more advanced, often digitally compatible auxiliaries.
Fascinating. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the market itself. How is it segmented? What are the different types of products?
Okay, product-wise, the main buckets are pre-treatment agents, that's for prepping the fabric, then dyeing and printing agents, obviously for color and patterns, finishing agents, these that give the final properties, spin finish used during fiber making, and then in other category, things like knitting and weaving aids.
And which of those is the biggest slice of the pie?
The report suggests dyeing and printing agents are likely the largest segment. Makes sense, right? Color's fundamental.
Yeah, absolutely. Any segment growing particularly fast.
Yes, the finishing agents, that's where you get your water resistance, wrinkle-free, etc. That demand for high-performance fabrics is really driving growth in that segment. It's flagged as the fastest growing.
Interesting. People want their clothes to do more.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the what. What about the where are they used, the applications?
Application-wise, we've got home furnishings, so bedding, curtains, upholstery. Carpets and rugs is another. Furniture itself. Then a big category called technical textiles.
Technical textiles. What falls under that?
It's broad. Think textiles for specific jobs, agriculture, like crop covers, that's agrotech, packaging materials, pactech, medical uses, meditech, and others. Then you have apparel, obviously. And finally, industrial textiles, used in manufacturing processes and such.
Okay, quite a range. Which application uses the most auxiliaries? Still apparel.
Yes, apparel holds the largest market share. Just the sheer volume of clothing produced globally makes it the biggest end use.
But is anything else growing fast, like the finishing agents on the product side?
Definitely. That technical textiles segment is expanding rapidly. As industries demand more high-performance fabrics with specific properties, think lightweight but strong, or chemically resistant, the need for specialized auxiliaries in that area just keeps growing.
Right, so our t-shirts are big business, but so are things like advanced medical fabrics or materials for cars. It's everywhere.
Pretty much touches everything made of fabric.
Okay, in a market this big and diverse, who are the main companies? Who are the players we should know?
It's a very competitive landscape, as the report notes. Big players are really focused on sustainability, R&D, and tech advancements to stay ahead.
Any names jump out?
Yeah, the report lifts quite a few. You've got major chemical companies like Huntsman, Solvay, Dow, AkzoNobel, Evonik, Covestro. Then players may be more focused on textiles like Dystar, Archroma, Rudolph GmbH. Also names like Tata Chemicals, Schimmer and Schwartz, Oleon, Fibrochem, Camex, Finiotex, Croda. OMNOVA, Chemin Industries. It's a mix.
That's a lot of players, global giants and specialists. Okay, let's circle back to the regions one last time just to solidify that picture.
Sure. So North America's current dominance, it's
Yeah.
down to their, advanced textile industry, lots of R&D, and those stricter environmental rules pushing innovation.
Right, regulation driving higher value products,
Could
perhaps.
be part of it. And then Asia Pacific's fast growth, it's really tied to its huge manufacturing base,
Mhm.
both for domestic consumption and export, is just where the massive amount of textiles get made.
So it's the engine room for global textile production, essentially.
That's a good way to put it. It makes APAC absolutely crucial to watch for future trends and, frankly, market opportunities.
It really is a story of established leadership versus future momentum, isn't it? This has been super insightful. It's a market that's sort of hidden in plain sight.
Absolutely. These auxiliaries are kind of the unsung heroes making fabrics what they are. Understanding this market really gives you a lens on manufacturing, on sustainability, on, well, a huge global industry.
Okay, so let's wrap this up with the key takeaways for you, our listener. What do you absolutely need to remember?
Well, first, the size. Nearly 9.3 billion USD in 2025. Second, the growth, solid 4.6% annually, heading over 13 billion by 2033.
Regionally, North America leads now, but watch Asia Pacific. It's the fastest growing, especially India and China.
Key drivers of that big push for sustainability and just the growth in apparel and home goods. Tech advancements too.
Product-wise, dyeing and printing is the biggest chunk now, but finishing agents are growing fastest. And for applications, apparel is king, but technical textiles are expanding quickly.
And it's a competitive field with lots of players investing heavily in R&D and green solutions.
Right. Which brings us nicely to a final thought for you to chew on. We've talked about this strong push for sustainability, and we've seen the rapid growth forecast for Asia Pacific.
Two powerful forces acting at the same time.
Exactly. So the question is, how might these two things, the Green Revolution and the APAC manufacturing boom, fundamentally collide and reshape this market over the next, say, 10 years? What totally new chemistries or technologies might we see emerge from that?
That's a really interesting question. What does the next generation of sustainable, high-performance auxiliaries, possibly developed or scaled first in Asia, actually look like?
Definitely something to think about. If we've sparked your interest, maybe dig into that market report yourself, or just keep an eye on news coming out of the textile tech world.
There's always something new happening.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.